a hosted JavaScript file. So you just copy this guy, and he's a script. So see, it ends in JavaScript down here. So you just get to call it like a JavaScript file, and you just get to use it like a JavaScript file. So the CDNs with the most recent versions don't seem to be serving the actual file with requires in it, and that's not that helpful. Interesting. Interesting. This is, I think, the one that I'm using for mine. Let's find out. Let's take a look. Which one I'm using. Which one am I using? I'm using 3.10. What's the latest version? 3.10. Is that the latest?
4.1. Oh.
Oh, you got a 4.0? Yours might work better then. So I stole the version out of the master repo example because I'm not serving anything externally. Yeah. I'm using 3.1 and I'm not having any issues with it, but I'm also not diving super deep into any of like the nuance stuff. Like I put picture and name, and like Christina was also diving a lot deeper into like, oh, I want to get only girls' names or only dudes' names. So I do want to talk about this for a little bit. Oh, perfect.
I'm pretty sure that I got a girl picture, but a boy name.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way to undo that, or does that not even matter?
So I think
it's just
that's
fake.
what Christina was doing, is trying to figure out to get the name in the picture to match for the same gender. And then it says there's no way to handle picture data, gender. And I think that's because all it is if you look at the source, notice this S3, and S3 is a JavaScript. I'm sorry, not JavaScript. I'm sorry. I was reading and talking at the same time. S3 is a cloud storage solution. This is just a dump, like a bucket of pictures. I don't think that they have genders associated with them. Yeah. I use 3.1, want animals. Yeah. You can find an animal faker IP. Just, you know.
So is the actual purpose of this faker thing just to see, like, if you're building your website, to see if it would actually work with the stuff that you put in? So you plug in the faker stuff just to see if it works?
It's a really nice way to fill out, like, if you needed a bunch of stuff, like you wanted to do like a social media site and you wanted to have a lot of information. Using this is really good. I've also used this to populate databases. So I had a bunch of test information because everything's a valid email and name format. So I've used it to generate a lot of data to fill in for databases so I could do testing. But yeah, this is not like final product. This is, I need to make sure my layout works. I need to make sure I can call external data and all that. That's what the faker is used for, is for mocking out stuff and testing. So good questions. So it doesn't look like the pictures have a gender option, which I think is actually like, that's just something they do. And then also Christina was struggling with getting the name gender thing to work. So what I wanted to talk about is when we're working .animals, but you don't get to pick what kind. It's so sad. So sad. Can I see this? I want to go here. I go to the repo. So when we're working with open source tools, you can typically just go to the repo and then you go here to the issues tab and you can see if someone else is having the problem. So then here we go. The dummy image generator Lorem Pixel is dead. Opened 11 days ago. There we go. So we know that we can't use this. It still works, it's just slow. Yeah. And so like, here's all this stuff and it's really nice. And then like, if you think you can fix something, you can go and fork this repository, fix it, and then submit a pull request. This is a like saying you have contributed to an open source API with over 1 million downloads a week on your resume. Like, that is phenomenal. And like, that's all just JavaScript. It's nothing that you guys can't do. Be sure to read the guidelines and all that when you do stuff like this. You can also, there's whole repos that are just like good first issues that help you get used to this idea. But yeah, it is, contributing to open source makes you a better developer. It helps you give back to your community, and it is like a fabulous thing to do for your resume. You might be able to set the, yeah, yep, that would work. Yep. So I just wanted to talk about that like when you're using open source stuff, like it's just software that's built by people and normally they're not getting paid for it. So like there might be issues with it, but you can fix them and contribute to open source. That's actually funnily enough, like we're talking about like contributing to open source. That's what shirt I have today is my Hacktoberfest contributing to open source shirt. So I run our Hacktoberfest every October, and it's a really great way to get into contributing to open source. This is something I care about a lot. Yeah. Are we doing one this year? Yes, it might be virtual, but yes, we will do a Hacktoberfest this year. For sure. I got to give away sharks and stickers and all sorts of stuff. Some slippers. It was a good time. Yeah. All right. So that's a little bit just getting into some things. The other thing I wanted to talk about, so CDNs are the easiest way to get the stuff, but sometimes we don't have CDNs for stuff, or it doesn't make sense to use them. Like, I'm not going to host a CDN for one of my JavaScript files, and then, you know, oh, I need to test it, so I'm going to host a module for that, or the CDN is behind. Yeah, because it's just someone else's code, and so maybe you need a new feature or an update, or, you know, that file is gone. Like, these things can happen. So that's not always the best way to do it. For a lot of things, it's fine. But once we start working with stuff that's not hosted, or, yeah, Cloudflare has burned down before. It knocked out everything for like 2 days. And that was stressful. I was doing DevOps when Cloudflare went down. It was stressful. That was a stressful time. I don't want to think about it too much. Okay. So what can we do instead of trying to depend on someone else's stuff? We can use another tool. There are 2 main tools for this. There are other ones, obviously, but like the 2 big ones for just basically like, hi, I want to use Node on the client side are Browserify and Webpack. Browserify, easy to learn. You literally like, here's the steps. We're gonna write them down. Yeah. Hello. Again, don't use the GitHub thing. I'm being bad. Oh my God, my computer is being so slow. I don't even think I'm running anything. Okay, so step 1. Write code. I only have 3 tabs open. I know. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I don't know what it's doing today. But most of my computer parts for my new computer have shown up. So we're just waiting for the CPU and then for it to be built. So one day soon, I might have a computer that can handle. All right, so we're going to write code. Then we're going to do npm init. We're going to do npm install whatever we need. You know, in this case, it's Faker, but maybe we want to do, you know, MySQL or, you know, whatever. And the magic is we do npm install browserify and spell it correctly. I had to type this like 6 times before I finally spelled it correctly. And then you just run browserify your file.js to bundle.js. Oops. And then you say your HTML, call the bundle file. That's it. It just does it for you. It fixes it for you. It's really wonderful. It's pretty easy to do. It's open source. It's not bad at all. It doesn't change anything. So let me show you the difference between the two files so you can see it. Okay. So here is my JavaScript that I wrote. It has a require statement at the top. Got some code. Great. I didn't put any CSS in here because I'm bad. But here's my HTML. Notice that I'm calling the JavaScript that got bundled. So let's take a look why. So this is that's fine. This is what Browserify does. It takes all the code that we've written and it makes it so that the browser can actually read our code. So I didn't write any of this. So I just said, okay, Browserify, make it so my browser can read this. And it said, okay, and that's what it does. Yeah, it's not too terrible. You do have Webpack too. Webpack is a bigger tool. It does all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to talk about Webpack too much because it could be like literally like its own week of content. But if you just want to run little tiny demos client side, Browserify is the way to get it to go. Nope, you don't even need to create the empty bundled.js file. It just does it. Yeah, here's the steps. Boop. You write your code, npm init, npm install whatever modules you're going to use. So in this case, we use Faker, but like you could use MySQL or whatever you want to do. This does also work for local modules. So if you've made a module, Browserify will help it so that way your browser can render it. Yeah, you just run that command, make sure everything's spelled right, because I don't know if I spelled Browserify right all the time. You can name the bundled file whatever you want. I typically do call it bundle or bundled, just something like that. So that way you know that's the one you want to call. And then you call that new file that you just created. Oh, one important note. If you change your original file, you need to rerun the Browserify command. Yes. All right, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna do some stuff first. Are you doing me like this? Okay, here we go. So then take out the require line. Nope, you don't have to take out the require line because your JavaScript is never going to hit that. Your HTML is never going to see that require statement. So I'm going to do a git pull real fast because I updated the README. So that way we don't get any issues. And then I'm going to open it real fast. Yep. Okay. All right, so here's my code. The require statement's still here. It's just never going to hit this, so it doesn't matter. So let's go ahead and do, I don't know, another thing. What do we want?
Address.
Address? Okay. What is the stuff for that?
That address, that city?
The address.city?
I'm thinking, I'm not sure.
Either. That sounds reasonable. Let's pull up the docs. Apparently Faker is a gamer dude, so that was annoying. All right. Yeah, address.city should work. Okay. Then let's do do this, and then we're going to go to our HTML, and we're going to add that. What did I call it?
Address? City? City.
City. Okay. Make a map, location, coordinates. Oh, yep. Yeah, you could definitely do that, and that would work just fine. I would recommend if you're going over to that, you can also play with Google Maps API. It's pretty easy to use, and like if you're just playing with it, it's going to be free. So that is also an option. So now I want to show you the magic. So here is my generated code, but I made change to my source code, so I need to update it. So I do browser-fi, and I watch my spelling very carefully because I really cannot tell you how many times I've misspelled it today. Okay, and then I want to call it bundle.js, and now watch what happens. It gets rid of that code that we've made before, and then this is going to take a second because it took a long time even when my computer wasn't in its death throes. Okay. Give me some code. And there we go. Here's our brand new updated code that has been rendered for the browser. So then I can go here. I can click on him, and I can open it with Live Server. And this is getting into this idea of build processes, deployment pipelines, and all that kind of stuff. I'm waiting for it to serve so we can take a look, but I don't know if it wants to or not. I don't think it wants to. Hello? Hello? All right, let me see what other tabs I can close real quick. I don't know. Basically. All right, here we go. Yep. So here it is. And so that's how this works. So we use browser-fi, we call the bundled file, not the original file we wrote, and it just works. And then like we refresh it, it'll generate new data. Which is nice. Bosco font. Can we put buttons in it too? Yeah, totally. Like if you want to make a button to refresh the page, that'd be cool. Because like this is literally like 90% of the thing that I did an entire technical talk on. So like add a border to it and some buttons and bam, you got a project. But yeah, so that's what this browser-fi thing is. It just is a thing we get to use to make it so our Node JavaScript will run on our client-side stuff. And I should have thought about it yesterday, but like I literally, it does not register until it for your imaginary friend finder. Love it. I love that. I love that a lot, actually. I don't know why it never sticks in my brain that require statements don't work. But yeah, that's how we get require statements to work. You do also have Webpack. Webpack is a little bit harder to learn. Browserify is npm install run. Webpack is not that easy. It's not hard. I think it took me maybe like an hour or two to learn how to use it. It's not hard, but it does a lot more than what Browserify can do. But for right now, I would just use Browserify. It just works, and it's much easier to understand. So yeah, sorry for not remembering that require statements don't work out of the box. It always slips my mind until I get a bunch of like, this doesn't work. And I'm like, oh yeah, it doesn't work. So that's my B. I forgot. This will be probably like the only time we really have this issue. Everything else will be setting up a server to handle stuff and a client-side stuff to handle stuff. So we probably won't have to worry about this. Cool. So again, my B for forgetting that require statements are ornery. So Webpack, no. So Browserify is open source. Faker is open source. All of this stuff is open source software. Webpack is specifically a tool for module bundling. So what that means is it is a tool to help us like serve compact modular pieces of code for our website so our websites are faster and more secure. Browserify just rewrites our JavaScript code so that way it will work in a browser runtime environment. We can use whatever source code we want. I think Webpack is also open source, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's open source though. Cool. So any questions about this piece? Again, that CDN is the easiest way to do it. You just put the link in there and use it. But if you want to do this route, this is how we do it. And there's pros and cons to each way. I think the obvious con for this one is now we have a build process. So every time you make a change or you want to test something, you have to build it, and that takes time. All right. Cool. Any questions? Faker not defined. Did you do that? Did you install it? Did you do npm install Faker?
No, I did CDN. I tried the npm last night, and it didn't work. But today I tried the CDN, and I ran the one of your scripts that you had in Blush where you tested the Faker info. Mm-hmm. It ran fine, and then after I put my function in, it started into my variables. It started kicking in that Faker is not that Faker's undefined.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Code, and I'll take a look because that sounds like it's just. Yeah. Okay. It sounds like something's not in the right order. That's what that sounds like to me.
Okay.
You could bundle the Faker.js alone. The only issue with that is then you still have to require it into your other JavaScript. And that's the big issue that we're trying to solve using the Browserify. So that tends to be what we would do is we just write all of our stuff and then bundle the whole thing. You could bundle just that and host that as its own script, and that would be fine. You could do that. I think it might be an extra step though, but you could do that. The next thing I want to show you guys is the stupid way I got the grid images to work. I'm not in love with this solution. So what I did is, here's all of our stuff. I put every single thing inside of a container, and then I gave the container, the containing div and the image, both a class of images, and then set the max width and height. It works, it's fine. Oh, and then I also gave it a grid gap so they're not all on top of each other. it's not the best. And like obviously we can see with different sized images, this is kind of ornery still. Like this image is much smaller than this hedgehog. And so like we get some issues.
Is that a cat or a dog?
I don't know. I typed cute animals and just got some. I don't know what it is. It's cute. I don't know what it is, but it's cute.
A fox? Fennec fox?
Maybe a fox. It's very small though.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah. So this is what I did to fix it to get it to all work, and it's fine. This would work. Object fit cover, yeah. That's what I played with a bunch of different things. The most recommended way I saw was to set it to a background and then use object cover for object cover or background cover for it, but then it's a background image and you can't put like an alt tag on a background image. So I wasn't like in love with that solution. So this is my screen reader friendly solution. It dynamically resizes. You get to put alt tags on stuff and all that. That is my slightly hacky solution to this. I'm not in love with it. I think there are better solutions to do this, but that's what I got to work and be happy with on mobile and still making it screen reader friendly because I wasn't in love with making it a background image. But yeah. So that's what I did to fix it. I'm not in love with it, but it does what I want it to. And it's dynamically resizable. And I think it's pretty easy to see what's going on. It's not too hacky when like, sometimes I'll see people do CSS stuff and I'm like, huh, what? So I don't think this is that bad. We've set the container to be a certain size and we set the image to be a certain size. So yeah. So that's kind of just review stuff from what we did this week and diving a little bit deeper into some grid stuff. If you wanted all the images to be exactly the same size, this would be one of those times where I would just recommend making them the same size in like Paint, Photoshop, whatever. You can resize images with CSS, like you can like permanently resize them. But, you know, if you have a bunch of stuff and you want it to all be perfect, I would just make them all the same size. Cool. If you have that option. Sometimes you don't have that option. I recently was working on a project and I got like 20, 30 pictures that were taken with a bunch of different devices. And let me tell you, trying to get like a Nokia picture to look good with like someone's Google Pixel 7000 picture, a lot of work. Yeah, so I hope this is helpful. This is the grid thing we were looking at yesterday. Let's actually use this same thing. And let's talk about sibling elements, because that is, I think Haley had a question about sibling elements, so let's talk about it. So all of our HTML elements are in the DOM, and they all have like a family relationship to each other. So in this instance, we got container, which has all these other guys in it. There we go. All of these divs are siblings of each other, and all of these divs have a children of their own image tag. So far, so good? Cool. So if we want to go through and maybe we want to add like alternating borders, I never remember what the sibling symbols are. I'm looking up the syntax because I never remember. So we got a couple different options. First, we can do just like descenders. So we can just be like all of our, maybe div. Does that work? I don't know if this works. We're gonna find out. I think it'll work. And then we just say like background. Oops. Yay! So these are our direct descendant. I'm sorry. These are our descendant selectors. These do not matter if they're direct or not. If we had a div inside a div, it would still work. So this is descendant selectors. Now, y'all, it would be wonderful if I could write English. Yeah, it's useful if you want to give, yeah, exactly. Yep. So that's one way to do it. We also have direct child, which isn't going to look any different here because everything is a direct child. Like there's no nesting too deep. So it'll look exactly the same as this. So I'm just going to write a little note.
And what would you change if you wanted the pictures closer together or not as close?
Mm-hmm. So this one I changed it with the grid gap, and so we can make it smaller. And that brings them closer together. It's a little bit easier to see with the ones that are the same size. Or I can make it bigger. So that's the grid gap that's deciding that.
Okay, so when they're different sizes, it doesn't affect them the same way when you change the grid gap?
Yeah, because it's trying to make them all the same size, and so it's just trying to auto-generate that white space, or like the spacing between them. And so like that's why some of them have weird spacing. And I think it's a little bit easier to see when we see with this. So then we can see that it's centering it in the left corner. And so that's where all this other stuff is coming from. And so if we were to like, I don't know if this is going to work because I have some height stuff set. Then we get, some weird stuff. I was expecting that to not work. But notice now things are centered and trying to fill things out a little bit more.
Because I tried it a bunch of ways, just trying to get it to fill inside the box regardless of what the original picture was, and I could not get it to work.
Yeah, it does not want to do that. CSS does not want to do that. It is trying really hard to preserve the image aspect ratio, so it does not want to do that. That's why also these are all different sizes, is because it's really trying hard to not stretch and pull images out of size. So that is going to be pretty hard to get it to break out of that. I would probably do just something like this, and then like if you end up with like a lot of like space that's hanging out, you could do like a solution like this. I do think centering them is probably going to look nicer. Oops. But CSS really rather you not like pull and tug pictures out of space. It's going to try really hard to get you not do that. So that already looks a little better. And then we could maybe do something like this and play with stuff like that. And play with the padding and all that kind of stuff to get them to be a little bit nicer. But if they're like wildly different image sizes in a grid, I might hard code the sizes instead of doing the soft sizes, which then we lose our resizing a little bit, and that kind of sucks, but it'll be what you want it to be. But yeah. the center a lot more. I think that looks nice. All right. So let's look at this sibling selector one. And so what I want to do is just general siblings and just say if a div is a sibling of a div. This again is going to look pretty similar, but we'll also look at a case that it doesn't work. So if we say div, just a sibling, and remember that's a tilde, not a dash. Let's do green. So now notice how this is different. Notice that it's not getting this first one because he's not like a following sibling, but everybody else gets picked. So this could be really good for if you wanted to do something like you want everything except for the first one to be a different size. This can be very nice for that one. Not much like this. So this is a general one. These descendants and general ones are really nice. We do also have direct siblings. So direct siblings will only get if they're next to each other. So like if we had, like we do something like this, it's going to totally break my grid, but that's okay. Actually, that's not bad. It handled it pretty well. I was expecting that to be super broken. That's not bad. All right. So if we're looking at direct siblings, if we do something like this, let's do yellow. We can see that it only does one, 2, 3. So yeah, it goes here. It doesn't take the first one, and it doesn't get anything after that. Ooh, yeah, next sibling. So doesn't hit that one, but then this one's the next of that. And then there's our board down there. Yeah, so this one will break if there's stuff that's not matching up. So what's the difference between div plus div and plain div? This picks any child in a parent element. Doesn't matter how deep it is, doesn't matter like what it is. So this is the parent div and this is the child div. So this works. It's all of them. Doesn't care how deep they are. This div plus div is direct siblings. So this does not a parent-child relationship. This is a sibling relationship. And so this one is not getting the first element because it doesn't have a next sibling. It's not its own next sibling. But it gets these guys because these are all next. But then we have this, which is not the element we're asking it for. So it breaks. It does not hit him, but then all of these guys are next siblings. Down here. I like him a lot. I think he looks kind of special. I like him. So that's the difference. Is these are, oops, those are direct sibling. There is something between them. It won't work. Excellent question. And then we get rid of him. Oh, right. So cool. Excellent questions. Any more questions about siblings or grid or, why I did this kind of nested thing instead of background images? Because I think background images would probably give you the look you're going for more. Or playing with like that object fit. All right. Using plain CSS, you will not be able to have, like, what do you want? Oh, siblings in JavaScript. Oops. ZZ, what do you want it to do? Like, yeah, that is not possible with plain CSS. You would need to use JavaScript for it. But yeah, you could just change the source on like a timer or something. And that's what I would do. Siblings in JavaScript. Are you talking about like the homework 3 from last week? Haley, is that what you have questions about? Okay. All right, let me pull that up. Okay. Yes, that's what I'm pulling up. That's what I'm looking at. We're going to make a list. We're going to do it. I really do not want to use jQuery, homie. Possible. I'd have to look. I think so. Yeah, the list size shouldn't really matter. Like, it might make it a little bit harder for you to test it, but it shouldn't matter. All right, we're gonna give. Oh, my hair's getting all caught. All right, I'm gonna give everybody ID equals main list. Yeah, if you turned it in and I haven't graded it, I'm missing it and I can't see it, or I've written a comment that I need you to fix something. All right. All right. This is dumb. This is not what I want. Probably shouldn't be so ornery, but that's not what we want. I guess we should put content in here. Do fruits. And then I'm also going to get this problem statement and put it in there. Oops. Okay. That's what we're trying to fix. So the last item is this guy down here. We want to change it using JavaScript. So we have to remember what that format looks like because I don't remember. So we could cheat. We have option 1 for cheating. And we can just give this guy an ID. And then we can just be like document dot get element, I don't care, by ID dot next sibling. Is this spelled right? Sibling?
Looks like it.
Yeah. Dot style dot color is now pink. Interesting. All right, why are you being so honored? What's wrong? Oh, it's read only. Duh. I only knew how to read. So sad. But, okay. See, this would be one of the times that another programming language would tell us that this is read-only instead of just being like, but JavaScript's like, well, it's not technically wrong. It doesn't do anything, but it's not technically wrong. So then instead, let's do then we should be able to do spell everything right. Cool. Well, at least now we got an error. Why is it undefined? Rude. I'm going crazy, y'all. All right. Now I really feel like I'm going crazy. Okay, so get element by ID. We don't have any weird capitalization. It's called item. It's called item. Why do you think that's not there? Yeah, maybe. All right, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Undefined, okay. We had it before worked for me. Ha! I'm gonna go crazy, y'all. Okay, so the way that I did it before worked. Okay, good to know. Clarify who's the, do you have to clarify who's the current sibling? Well, that should be here. And this should be saying that the next sibling is this guy. And it should just change it. Or at least define it. But it's saying it can't see. Okay, wait, here we go. Document dot get element by ID. Item. Just hit. Okay, so something is horribly amiss, and I don't know what. What am I misspelling? Because it's saying it can't see this item at all. Like, it can't see. Is item a protected word?
Maybe if you just put sibling instead of next sibling?
So it can't even see this. Like when I just do document.getElementById, by ID, it doesn't work. So it should return me the whole object, but it doesn't return anything. Document, get element by ID, item, inner HTML. How about that? So tell item to be fruit instead. I do wonder, yeah, let's see if item is a protected word. I'm not going to be shocked if it is. Okay. All right. So some words are protected in JavaScript, like function, like you can't name something function, you can't name something var, you can't do that. So I wonder if item's one of those words. I don't know. I bet you it's I'm doing something stupid. Oops. Well, you know, missing a quotation mark's definitely on that kind of list. Okay, so welcome to live debugging. I don't know why this is being so ornery. Okay, so all of my HTML is right, yes? There's no dangling loose angle brackets, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And then let's just get rid of
Oh, no, never mind.
then this doesn't exist. And all I want to do is console.log this.
It's gonna be okay.
It is going to be okay, but like not alone in this kind of nonsense. Okay, so that works. It can see that. So, can you show me the next sibling then? Or a sibling? Or anything? Can you give me something? Next sibling. Okay, hashtag text is fine. It doesn't see, it doesn't have an ID. That's cool. Okay, so what if I give you an ID? Give you an ID, call you Apple. But what did, it's gonna like drive me insane. I don't know why the first one didn't work. Okay, but anyways, now it has an ID and it can see that. Great. Look at that, it can see it. Okay, look at that. Okay, so you can see
This
that.
is me every homework.
Me too, believe me.
And that's okay. It's the process, you know, like, and so as long as you were like thinking about things and like going back and going, okay, so it can see this, it can do this, like, this is a pretty normal development flow to be like, okay, what are you doing? Why are you not doing this? What's up? So we know that this probably won't let us just change stuff, but we should be able to just assign this, and it's an object now. We can see that. So then also, by the way, when you're doing this kind of stuff, if something says jQuery, be like, bye.
Why?
jQuery is an older standard, and with ECMAScript 6, which is the current version of stuff, we don't need it.
Okay.
Yeah, we just don't care anymore about it. Next element sibling. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Is it just next element sibling and it'll work? Huh? What did you say?
Homework. It was, I needed elements to.
You're super staticky. I can't hear you.
Oh, it works. It works. It works. Ooh, Lord.
It's next element sibling, y'all.
Okay.
I did that exact thing in homework. Yeah. Yep. Next sibling is read only. Next element sibling is the one we get to edit.
Oh, okay.
So, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to like beat your head up against a dumb, I used the wrong function call. It's okay. So yeah, I hope this, helps you guys feel a little bit more chill about it. Haley, does this help you? I know that was a really long answer to what was supposed to be like a really quick part of the homework. Did this help? Cool. I feel like sometimes when you guys ask me for stuff and I go like totally on a like tangent about stuff, I'm like, I feel like I'm running like a advice show, TV show or something. That doesn't actually solve any problems. Figured it out because autocomplete, yep, VS Code does stuff, yep. And it tells you what it does, which is very useful, yeah. Cool. So that's how we use next sibling. Next sibling does not give us editable content. Next element sibling does. Groupie. All right, let me save this and I'll share it. Things. Annoying. Yeah, autocomplete on Faker's methods. Yeah, it's really nice. It does a lot of stuff for us. That's why I really recommend like being in depth with VS Code, because learning how to use that tool can really save you some time. Because I bet you if we were doing this in VS Code, we might have figured it out faster. But that's okay. We've learned something. All right. So much to save time typing stuff. Every now and then the matching angle brackets or auto closing tags is kind of annoying, but it does save you a lot of work. All right, that was annoying, but that's okay. We've learned something. All right. I want to do, I don't want to do this. Oh. I'm not going to, yes. Yeah, you are definitely not the only one who struggles. I can guarantee you that that you are not the only person struggling with stuff. I can guarantee you that you are not the only person who has had the exact issue you're doing. I can almost guarantee you that without a doubt, you are not the only person in this class right now that has the same exact issue. I can almost guarantee it. So ask questions, ask for help, use the little study group chat. Like, there's absolutely no way you are the only person who's having that issue. Even if you feel like it's silly, even if you feel like it's dumb, like, you guys just watched me struggle for 20 minutes because I couldn't remember the two different things. Oh, whoops. That's week 11. Whoops. I wanted week 4. There we go. All right. I want to spend 15 minutes like speed running JavaScript basics. And then we're going to take a break, and then we're going to go do some new content. Suggested topics for you guys to review on your own. CSS positioning, CSS positioning, CSS positioning. Just build some layouts, really play with it, spend time with it. That's mostly what week 3 is positioning stuff and understanding the nitty-gritty stuff with CSS. I want to focus on JavaScript stuff, but that's what I would do for the week 3 review. All right. So somebody tell me, what are, I want to open up a notepad thing. We're going to do some typing. We're going to do some lazy whiteboarding. So somebody tell me, I want to write bigger. I cannot stand that this stuff is not big. Okay. What are the data types in JS? / what is a data type?
Aren't data types like variables, functions, and consoles?
Okay, so I think you're getting close, but not quite. So data types are specifically our information. Okay, we got input. That's also not a bad guess. Any other guesses, thoughts? Somebody tell me what a data type is. Let's start there. You can Google it. Google's your friend. Okay, we got object. Okay. One of our data types is an object. Yep. Oh, we got a Boolean. Boolean. Got string. Yep. What else?
Number.
I'm gonna call them integers. I don't know. Ints. Those are numbers. Okay. Anything else? What about a
Is a function a data type?
No. And I'm kind of wishy-washy on that. Because it gets cast to an object. So like kind of no, but like also I don't think it would be like unreasonable to say that. What are our 3 weird ones? What are weird things we can get back?
A number and a string?
What does that give us?
What?
Yep, okay, we got undefined. So when we add a string and a number, what do we get back? Yep, not a number. Yep. He's technically not a type. I'm going to put him down here. What is the other? We got undefined. What's the other weird one? What kind of error? Like, they're not error messages per se, but like when we get them back.
No.
Yeah, no. Yep. That's it, right? Technically, there is also this thing called a big int, just so you know. I don't, it is very rare that you will probably use something like bigger than a regular number, because regular numbers in JavaScript go up to like 2 to the 53rd power. That's like a crazy huge number. You probably will not be going bigger than that, but just so you know. Okay, so we got all these things. So what is a data type? What does this tell us? What is it?
The type of data we're looking for.
I'm going to use a type of, we're going to say flavor of information. And these have some rules about them, and they help us get a little bit more context about our stuff that we're doing. So like an object has certain things. A Boolean has certain things. And all of these things have functions and properties. So like for strings, we have things like length. We have things like split. For like integers, we can, use our math object. Objects have properties and methods like, has own property. Undefined and null don't have properties. That's it. That null is null and undefined is undefined, but everybody else, we get stuff. We get methods, properties, and they give us context for the data we're saving. Cool. We also have, we can do casting, and we have type of, which is just a function that tells us what type something is. And then we can cast stuff to other stuff. And that's by doing stuff like, toString, toInt, parse int, all that kind of stuff. Those functions let us swipe from thing to thing. And then, important note, if the number's acting weird, check what kind of data it actually is. Important note, JS tries to be helpful. And then think about this, when we add a number and a string together, it gives us back a string. So it's trying to do typecasting for us and help us figure out what's up. But like, that's typically not the correct choice, right? If we're adding two numbers and we expect a number back and it gives us back a string. Cool. Yes, exactly. It tries. Like JavaScript, most programming languages, but JavaScript especially, it's like talking to a little kid. You got to like be like, hey, these are two numbers. Add these two numbers together. And if you don't be that specific with it, it'll just be like 5 plus 7 is 57. And you're like, homie. So pay attention to when it tries to do stuff like this, because it's not going to throw an error. It's just going to do it. Yeah, it would be cool. Some languages are a lot more structured and they throw errors and like they help you figure out exactly what it's doing. But JavaScript's not super structured like that. Like if you're working in Java or C#, it's not going to be that forgiving. It's not going to just try to do stuff for you. The annoying thing is it breaks a lot more because like as you write your code, it's much more particular. But with JavaScript, it's like you can add a Boolean and a number together. That's cool. Yeah, 5 false. That's great. That's cool, man. I enjoy it. Or it'll be like, yeah. Or it'll be like, yeah, man. Null plus like your name. Yeah, totally. That's cool, man. So just be aware. It tries to be helpful, but it might not give you what you want. I'm going to put this in Slack for y'all, so you have these notes. There you go. This is how we assign variables. We have only talked about var so far, but do remember that later we'll talk about let and const. Okay, I'm going to scroll back up. Somebody tell me the difference between undefined and null.
Null is like there's nothing there, and undefined is that they don't know what it is.
Exactly. Yep. Null means there's nothing. Undefined is more like there's nothing yet. Yeah, like both of those. Those are both really good. Cool. Comment your code. We can use JavaScript to do math. Remember, when we're doing this, this is arrow notation, not greater than. We got our logical stuff. We can do not and or. We got our truth tables. We got just kind of looking at our logic and thinking about stuff. How we feel about like these kind of like ands, ors, and nots. How do we feel about them? And we got a couple goods. Fine, makes sense. Cool. And if not, I do have a video. Did I put the video? I did not put the video. In the education playlist, I do have a video if you are confused about it that talks about conditional logic from a Python base, but the logic is still the same, just like some of the syntax is different for us. So Boolean logic and logic gates, super useful. Again, this is all that education playlist. Conditional statements and conditional logic. If you are having issues with those are very good. And I'll put this in CBC9 also. Highly recommend. These are all videos that like I have watched. You can see like watch them. They're all, most of the time, they're also channels I recommend. Every now and then, they're just like one-offs that are really nice, but most of the time, I also recommend the channel, the whole thing. Yeah, water pipe puzzles. Yep. But yeah, it's kind of long, and like some of these videos are like hour-long videos, but like, you know, I've watched the hour-long videos because they're useful. I get ads for those games all the time. Yep. All right. We got conditional statements too, like our ifs and else ifs. Remember to think about things in the flow. So what I mean by that is like, remember with your quiz that like, if you put stuff in different orders, the result wouldn't be what you expect it to be. So definitely be thinking about that and be aware of how you write your code impacts how your code runs. So think about it. Handwrite it out. Use a pencil. Walk through your code. Especially with loops. Loops are pretty easy to break, as we saw when I broke Chrome so bad I had to close Chrome all the way out. We got a couple different kind of loops. Mostly we got our two big flavors. We got for and while. For loops are made up of 4 pieces. We have a starting condition, a condition we're checking, the step to get to the end, and the code we want to run. 4 for 4. Yep, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. How many times can I say that word before it gets semantically sanitized? 4. Not a lot. This is what a for loop looks like. I think we're all pretty comfortable with this. Biggest thing that I've seen, make sure that you're still declaring the variable here. It does still work, but that works due to this thing called hoisting, and you need to be careful with it. So make sure you're declaring your variable inside your for loops, and that your curly braces are where they're supposed to be. I have seen a couple curly braces run astray and do their own thing. So make sure that your for loop only has the code that you want to run in there and that it is actually closed. We talked about this a little bit more now. So we got our for in. So we can hop through and look at every single property in an object with a for in loop. And then we got our while loops. All right. We got functions. We got math. We got strings. And we talked about data types. So that's all I want to do for a review. I know that we didn't do anything for week 5 or like the advanced array functions. So things that I recommend reviewing on your own. CSS positioning. JavaScript arrays, and then array methods. JS loops, JS functions, and objects. Because we didn't get to go through and do all of them. We'll do another review. We'll do at least one more review, but my goal is to do 2. But I want to make sure that we're not like missing out on any content by reviewing too much. Those are what I recommend spending time with. And if you feel comfortable with them and you're like, I can put a picture center of whatever I want it in, I'm not going to waste my time with it. Good. Go on, move on to something else. But those are the things that tend to trip people up. So that's what I would practice. What's arrays again? Arrays are how we store a bunch of data all together. Those are things in the square brackets. Your DJ homework. Those are arrays. Oh my goodness, it's so slow. Okay, these are our arrays. Here's an array. And then we got all of our methods like shift, push, unshift, splice, and all that. And the more, this is the one that I would recommend looking at. Plus looking at all the resources in the array section. YouTube videos, practice. Yes. Yes, it probably will. That was a lot of code and you're a lot more dedicated to things than I am. But it works and it looks really nice. So this cocked pasta, still too much work for me. I'm tragically, painfully lazy. It looks really nice though. Yeah, I definitely think you should show it off. Not to like put you on the spot, but I think you did a really good job. So, you know, I thought it looked really nice. I think you did a really good job. All right. Cool. So that's what I want you guys to review. I know we didn't get through everything, but I don't want to fall too far behind in this one. This one's not too, it doesn't look like a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of in-depth stuff. So let's do that. So let's take our break. Puts us at 2:48, and we're going to learn new content.
Okie dokie. look like a marshmallow.
I feel cold, okay? I'm freezing.
You get some meat on the bones.
I do have meat.
No, you
Okay?
don't.
Look.
Yeah, okay.
Stop it.
Okay.
You're supposed to jiggle, man.
My thumb is bigger than your arm.
No, it's not. My arm's pretty thick, if I do say so myself.
She's at the cold house
Yeah.
thingy.
So I'm getting my bathtub fixed so I can actually take a shower. So that's what all that noise in the background is. I'm very excited.
Yay. You get to shower. Yay.
I feel like all I do is like put work orders in because like I think I was talking to Sylvia on Friday and I was getting my door replaced.
Oh Lord, you got a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah, and I live in a nice apartment. I'm telling you, when I was straight slumming it off of Central, not a problem. Like and like the person I was renting the house from, if I called him or I could even text him, I would text him and I'd be like, hey, you know, this is what's up. And he'd be like, okay, I'll be over this afternoon to fix it.
Oh, nice.
And that was like $600 a month. Like,
Wow, that's cool.
like it's tiny, but you know, yeah, it was, yeah. But like now that I'm like in a nice apartment, it's like, we'll come back and, you know, it took like 3 months to get my door fixed. And I'm like,
Wow.
I get that there's other stuff going on. I get it. I know. Yeah, that's what I was talking to my mom today, and she was like, you're just so needy. Quit being needy. I'm like, yeah, I guess, because, you know, like, how dare I want my doors to shut or to live in a bug field? I'm asking for too much. Exactly. I'm asking for too much. So as we get started, the one thing that I want to say, I put this video's in your syllabus up here. She works for like, I don't remember where she works, but she works for like a really big company. She doesn't have a CS degree. She didn't go to boot camp, but she's a professional developer, and like she makes really wonderful YouTube videos. I think this is a really good video to watch. They're like very practical tips about how to continue to learn code, because it's hard. It's hard, and so like, you know, having this can be really helpful. We can get a degree from this. Yeah, that's what I got. I got a computer science degree. Got it. I got it right here.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna get it hung. That's what I'm getting for my birthday. My mom's gonna get my diploma framed for me. I did open it, but I've never actually taken it out. So it has been opened, but I've never taken my diploma out of the tube.
Okay.
I didn't want to wreck it. So, you know, hopefully my name's not misspelled or anything. Yeah, I also got a flat envelope. So I got this is my cybersecurity certificate. This one I'm taking out.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm getting both of those hung for my birthday. I graduated like 3 years ago. Well, because I kept telling myself, I'm like, well, I'll just go do it. And then I'm like, it's been 2 years. I'm just going to get my mom to do it. So, yeah. So, yes, you can get a degree in this. And honestly, like, if that's the path you want to go down, this class will help set you up for a lot of that because you'll have the foundational programming logic that you need for any programming language. We have had people from this class go get enroll in Augusta Tech and do degrees in it, or go on to complete other programs too. So like I've had people go get physics degrees and stuff like this. If that's the path you want to go down, this class will definitely set you up for that. But yeah, so she's a really good resource. She does a lot of stuff like how do you do this stuff, how do you, you know, do applications? How do you do this stuff? Yeah, and like these are really like find your way. That's what you guys are here for. Like, you know, I have determined what your path is, and like if you don't like the path, that's okay. But you have a path. Commit to small goals. This is the way. Yes. Project-based learning, that's what we do. Find a community. Thank you. Successful stories and motivational content. I try to give you guys that. I think the biggest thing is managing your stress. It's definitely like a big thing.
Yep.
Because like you don't want to get, it can be really stressful and it can be really like overwhelming and scary, and like those are all valid feelings, but like, you know, take breaks. You know, make sure that your goals are not unreasonable. Like you're not going to be an expert in everything immediately. It's much less starting your job, even with the dumb dog. Yep. But yeah, she does a lot of really, really nice ones. She explains what the different development roles are, and all that. Yeah, go play games, go sleep. Sleep is very important. But yeah, I like her. I think her videos are really wonderful. This is in your syllabus. You don't have to watch it, but if you're feeling unmotivated or you're feeling, you know, kind of alone or whatever, like, she's a really good resource. Naps help your brain. No, sleep is not for the weak. Listen, that's what I did all through college and I regret it. You need to sleep. You need to sleep.
Yep.
Your brain does not work as well if you are not sleeping. And like, listen, I know that when I was in college, I worked 2 jobs. I did not sleep. Yes. I was bad in college. And so that's why I'm so like uppity about it now, is because like I would be at work at 4:30 in the morning and I wouldn't get home till like 11 at night. And like, it just
Dang.
was really rough. So I don't recommend that. I recommend sleeping. Okay. So, yeah. Man, this is a bit of a tangent, but like, I remember one time my great grandmother passed away and I had a teacher who was just an absolute, like, I can't think of even like a nice way to describe him. Yeah, we'll go with butt. He was an absolute butt. And so I like explained to him that like my great grandmother had passed away and I needed to go to California to help my grandmother, you know, manage the estate and like do all the paperwork and help her with all that stuff. So I had to turn in my final a week early. He was such a just like this is years ago now and it still makes me so mad. Like I literally was awake for like 72 hours. I was so dead.
Dang.
And I was like, this is like when I got on that plane to fly out to California, like I was so checked out and like I slept so deep because I hadn't slept for so long.
Why didn't he just give you an extension?
Because he was an adjunct professor and, you know, he was one of those dudes that are like, I'm so good and you have to do everything exactly how I say. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
you're an adjunct professor at like a small college. Get over yourself. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. I don't recommend it. Sleep, take naps. Yeah, man. Okay. All right. A little bit tangential, but that's okay. The important thing, learning is hard. Learning to code is hard. Find resources that make you feel supported. I think her channel is really nice. I like watching her stuff. Because she also does things like, Azizi, I think you'll be particularly interested in the last couple episodes she did. She did episodes like how do you start investing. I will say one of her things was like, I invest half of my income. That's great. I can't do that. I have to live. I did not start hallucinating, but like, man, it was rough. Like, I was pretty sure I was no longer on this plane of existence when I got on that plane. But It was rough. Yeah. So her YouTube channel, I highly recommend. I really like her. She does technical stuff too, but she does a lot of the like, how do I pay my bills? Yeah, man. Like, I don't end up with. I can't live off of half of my income. Like, we got nothing. But yeah, I like her videos. I think she's really good. Find people like that either in online communities or real life that make you feel supported and like you can do this, because you guys all can, and I believe in all of y'all, and I will also help find mentors for you if that's what you need, because you have an entire alumni network. You got all the previous teachers of this class, like you got the entire Clubhouse network, like you got plenty of people to help. Yes, I'm your mentor too. Yes. Yes, specifically like, you know, one-on-one people, like we're trying to get a couple people who like run tech companies to come mentor, but we'll see. Sometimes they're really into it and they're here for it, and then other times they're like, yeah.
Peace out.
So, you know, but you know, it's hard to do stuff, and that's okay. Okay, so let's get into this stuff.
There's another green, I'll get you another one of these.
Okay.
Or if I have one, I'll make shop and see if I do. If not, I'll do one tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
This, and take us off the budget. Yeah, I'll be working.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's super ornery. I have to eventually fix it. Thank you. Cool, I can take showers now, guys.
Yay!
Anyways, so we are going to talk a lot more in depth about this for week 8 or 9. So we have client-side stuff and server-side stuff. Client-side stuff is pretty much everything we've done. The server side is where everything actually lives. So far, everything that we've done is we've had VS Code be the server and our browser be our client. And that's been what it's looked like so far. Most JavaScript stuff will not run server side. So, like, we can't just take our scripts and just run them on our computer. It just doesn't work. JavaScript is a scripting language. It needs a runtime environment to run. Everything we've been doing so far is we've been using the browsers. So for Chrome, it's V8. I think Firefox's one is called Gecko. We also have Blink, but these are all just like engines that make the thing run. So we could go learn an entire new programming language like Java or PHP. I don't want to. That's a lot of work. And then it's a lot of work to get these two separate languages to communicate to each other. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to learn Node. And we already have used this a little bit. We've used it for Mocha. We've used it for Faker. Node is a runtime environment, and it's the way to make JavaScript run anywhere, which is really cool. So the first thing that we can do with this, I'm going to CD out of this so I don't break anything, is we can run it in our CLI. We just say, okay, run Node. And then notice here, it has an arrow. So now this works just like our console. We can do math. We can ask it to do things. And then we can call things like we saw, like kind of like how we can do npm test. We can do Node stuff like that too. This is really nice for like if we're interacting with a server and we want to run stuff, we can interact with the server and do stuff with it, which is cool. And I can just type exit. Was it not? This? Dot exit. Okay. Cool. So that's Node in our CLI. Everybody should already have Node installed on your computer, so it should just work.
Yeah.
If you type Node and you don't get the little arrow, let me know, but it should just work. Also, probably make sure you're not like deep inside a repository or anything. just so that way you're not going to like overwrite some code or anything like that. It shouldn't matter, but just in case, just make sure you're not inside of something else. So far, so good. We use the command node to set up a node environment. And then this is really useful for like server stuff. And we can do stuff like, you know, addition, console logging, anything we would do in our like console on the browser side, we can do in here. We just start with node. And then we get our runtime environment and we can do stuff. Okay. All right. I do want to talk about a little bit of like the history. For a while, like Node's pretty new. It's maybe like a little bit older than a decade, I guess. Yeah, 11 years old, so it's not that old. We just got a new stable release. So Node does all of our really cool stuff. It does command line tools, server-side scripting, dynamic web page content, like JavaScript everywhere is the big thing. It's fancy. Here are a bunch of companies that use it: IBM, LinkedIn, Microsoft, Netflix, PayPal, SAP, Boxer, Walmart, Yahoo. Like, it's used everywhere. The other really, oh, come on. Are you coming? No. Give me just a second. Yes. She's chilling. She's awake now. She doesn't want to come hang out with me. Yeah. Oh, now she's hiding under the table because there's noise. She's not a fan. Oh, this is the dude who made Node. And yeah. Anything else I care about with the history stuff? Oh, Node's the reason we have NPM. Like, so Node is really this fundamental piece of modern web development. Not everything's written in Node. A lot of things still use PHP. A lot of things still use deprecated versions of other stuff. Legacy code is still a really big part of development, but Node is like the hot new thing. Most of the time when we are doing these things, we are also talking about using these with frameworks. I am not going to teach you a front-end framework because they are it's a whole other thing. Like, you could take a 12-week class in a framework. Learning a framework after this class is a really good next step. I use Vue. That's what I enjoy. The most popular one is React. Honestly, as long as you don't go learn like Ember or something, you'll be fine. Personal recommendation is learn Vue because it's really easy to use, and then you can learn React real fast. That's my personal front end, what you should learn after this class. I will talk about Express next week. Express is a back-end framework, and it just makes life a lot easier. Cool. So the reason why is because we want to be able to use JavaScript everywhere. So that way we get to not have to write in multiple languages. Thank you. Because that's a lot of work to write in multiple languages and to get multiple languages to interact with each other. Yeah, so it's just a faster, easier way of writing things. And it also gives us all of our NPM stuff, which is really nice. The real magic of Node, though, is asynchronous programming. So asynchronous programming is kind of magic, honestly. This is what makes like the internet fast and dynamic. We talked about this a little bit with Ajax yesterday. So far, every code that we've written has been synchronous. It starts at the top, it works its way down, and if it has to wait for something, the code just stops. Is that going to work with like hosting a website? Do you want to have to wait for someone else to finish uploading the YouTube video before you can watch the video?
No.
No. Do you want to wait for everyone else to finish logging in before you log in?
No.
Exactly. So this is where asynchronous code comes in. This asynchronous code is a little bit hard to understand. Yeah, exactly. You'll never be able to watch anything. Asynchronous code is kind of hard to understand. It's just a weird way of thinking about it because like we're used to seeing things work in order. And so asynchronous code can be a little bit weird. We've got a couple flavors. We're going to spend most of our time in callbacks and promises, but we do have a sync and await, which are a little bit easier to understand. So put this on your flashcard. Node is a runtime environment. It's a way to make JavaScript work server side. Cool. Asynchronous or Node also allows us to use asynchronous JavaScript, which is very cool. All right. So we've already worked with modules a little bit. Well, any general like Node.js questions before we dive into the next piece? Groovy. All right. So we've already done this a little bit before. Modules are other pieces of code that we get to use. So in plain JS, which is also called vanilla JS, so vanilla JS is not a fancy library or anything. It's just JS without touching anything else. Sometimes you will see people like be very like snarky about like using vanilla JS because there's a library for everything. And so sometimes people really lose sight of just using JavaScript. So yeah. Vanilla JS, like an example of a module, it's not quite in the module, but it's like our math object. It's a little piece of self-contained code that we get to use as long as we follow the correct syntax. So we do capital M math dot round dot floor dot power, you know. As long as we're following the correct syntax, we just get to use this code and I don't have to write my own random number generator. That's really nice because that's a lot of work. So Node takes this idea and expands on it. There are two different pieces. There's built-in ones and then just like the general ones that exist outside. So built-in are just part of Node. We don't have to do anything. We just write a require statement. We get things like file systems, servers, URLs, all that. We have to use this require keyword. And again, unlike when we do, math.round, we need to tell Node what we're doing. So we say, okay, I want to use this HTTP module, which is how we make servers. So we can see it has a create server function. We tell it it's a function. This is a callback. We're handing in stuff. And then we tell it to listen. Let's actually run this code because it's pretty neat. Let's do this. I think we can just do this. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. So I think I can just do Node, and then I can just do this. What do we got?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is it working? Listen on port 880. Oh, the cat's feeling all froggy now. She's climbing all up in the kitchen now. She's so rude.
What did she drop?
So so far it's just Tupperware. I'm gonna go get her though because I think I have stuff on the counter and I don't want her to eat it. Sorry that we're like not getting anything done this afternoon. I will say, so the last class that I taught was like right when all the apocalypse stuff was kicking off. And so like every other class we'd have something crazy going on. Like there was this huge storm that like I had to end class like 4 hours early because Augusta Tech shut down.
Oh.
And so like I was like, okay, get lost. Bye. Bye. So, you know. All right. So what this did is it created a server on port 880. We'll talk about servers a little bit more in depth. So it's a server object. It's listing on port 880. Its domain is null because we didn't set a domain name. It's sending RES stands for result. And so it hands in some content. It says our status is okay. And then it hands it in. So we're create a server. We give it a request and a result. Our result is a header and some content, and then we serve it on port 880. And then we get our text right there. Very magic. That's kind of the magic of Node is with a couple lines of code, we can create a server and host content. Like, that's like what, 6 lines of code?
Awesome.
Yeah. So this is the magic part. So we'll just do a lot more demos, but like that's what this is doing. There's a module called HTTP, which makes servers. Like it sets up this protocol for us. We get to use the protocol to make servers, to serve content, to do all sorts of stuff.
What right head? What is the right head for?
Right head is setting up the HTTP request header. And so that gives us information like status codes and ready state. So it's handing in the status code 200, which means okay. And then how people make servers for games like Minecraft. You could use Node to manage your servers, but like creating a server for Minecraft is just really like you make a server, like you're just getting space for it. So you could use Node to set up servers for Minecraft, or you could just like go into AWS and make one. Either way. Because Node is specifically for when we want to use JavaScript stuff. So like if you were making a JavaScript-based game, you could definitely use Node for your backend stuff, and that would make a lot of sense. But Minecraft is written in Java, so I'm going to get my first Minecraft server. Yeah. Do some Google. Apparently it's not hard. Because like the boyfriend and the brother keep talking about doing it. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to learn how to play Minecraft. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm definitely one of those like squares that I don't understand because I'm like, what's the point? And it's one of those games that there's not a goal.
There is not a goal. It's
Yeah, it's just like play and make and like their Legos and it's fun. And I'm like, what's the point? So yes, I need goals. Yeah. Yes, I like quest games. I like puzzles. Puzzles are like what I really like.
Me too.
To kill the Ender Dragon. Yeah, but like that's like not like a thing. It's like a one item you could go do. I don't know, man. Breath of the Wild. I haven't played Breath of the Wild. It looks fun. Anyways, we're getting derailed again. So we can use require and exports to make our own modules. It's all good. It's okay. I get super distracted. So we use require to take in stuff like our own modules we've written, or we can export our modules to write our own code. And again, we can export all the way back out to NPM and make our own modules to share with other people. And again, yay, open source. Oh, see, look, I wrote myself a note. Require doesn't work client side. I need to make that bold and in red and all that. So if you're not like wrapping your server side stuff in something else and other calls, you need to use Browserify or Webpack. Browserify is going to be the easiest solution. Express is a backend framework that we will use, and I think it has Browserify in it or another solution. There's a bunch of things to do. It's all good. It's all good. There's a lot of like talk about like having a new JavaScript version that runs it, that requires work in it. But as of right now, it just doesn't work. So you have to use Browserify or Webpack or Express or something else. Oh, is she yawning? She's like
Yawning, rubbing her face.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Your mouth is like right where my like little Google Meets is sharing your screen, so I can't see it. Otherwise, I'd be out here like yawning too. All right. So there's my note about require, which I should have put in earlier, but that's okay. We know. We'll talk about this a lot. We'll come back to him, but he's a very good resource to learn asynchronous code. All right. So let's build something I think a little bit easier to understand than like the server piece. We're going to build a CLI thing that asks for a question and then prints the answer back out. So nothing too crazy. I'm going to dig and find it real fast because I don't know where it is. I already have a demo written out. I need to stop naming all my stuff dumb things.
That's what you keep telling us.
And this is why. It's because I have things named like symmetrical chainsaw. Like, what is that? I don't know.
Ha ha. Very funny.
Get out, kicked, banned, blocked. All right, well, let me look in one more place, and otherwise we'll just make it. Oh, oops. I was too deep in a directory. Nope. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna make a new one. We're gonna name it something reasonable so we can actually find it. We will name this Node CLI demo.
Very reasonable.
Very reasonable. I know. So sad. We use a node git nor because we're making a node project. Initialize it with a README. Very nice. So exciting. All right. Copy this. We can go here. Oops, I closed all the way out of it. Oops. What? Do you want to come here, you snotty baby? So we're just going to make a JavaScript file. Whenever this decides to load, we'll make a JavaScript file. Our first thing that we want to do is we're going to require something, read line, read file, read line. Okay. I'm going to shorten it to read line. We're going to require it. Read line is a CLI tool that allows us to read user input. That's all it does. I don't care. I don't know why it goes to the little weird output thing. I don't know why it thinks that's what I want. I don't know what setting to change for. I'm having a day. Okay. All right. Please. Okay. So we have read line. And again, notice that like we can name our variable name whatever we want. In this case, I shortened read line to RL. That's pretty standard. You'll see FS for file system. And again, you can name it whatever you want, but name things reasonably. The next what we want to do is we want to create an interface. So we just do rl.create interface. Wait, yeah. It takes a function. And this create interface is just a piece of the readline module. So just like we could go to W3 Schools and look at the math object to figure out what all these things do, we can do the same thing with Node. This is just something that exists. Y'all, I'm going to have to tie a weight to this cat. It's so cat pictures.
She's so energetic. My dog is so lazy. He lays on top of the vents. Lazy dog. All day long. So lazy.
Get down. She just took
Oh, now
he dog heard me?
Yeah, now he wanted to say something.
That's funny. Okay, so all we want to do here is we're going to just say, hey, where should we listen for input? Get a spray bottle with a long range. So I accidentally terrorized my boyfriend's cat. My boyfriend is very nice to his cat. He is so gentle and loving and kind. I sprayed her with the kitchen sink faucet.
Oh.
So now she doesn't go in the kitchen anymore.
Good.
I felt so bad, y'all, because like he's so nice to that cat, and I was just like,
It should be all right. It's just water.
yeah, she'd be alright. She's just so afraid of the kitchen now. So I feel like, yeah, I feel like I need to do that to Fetty. Except for I feel like Fetty would just be like,
really? I slept outside.
yeah, like she doesn't care. Like she's a street cat, so she's like, what? Rain? You think I'm afraid of rain? So all I'm doing here is I'm just, yes, this is where it happened, the place I got attacked. Yes. Yes. That cat doesn't trust me. But it's okay. These things happen. She's not mean to me, so I guess she's forgiven me, or she's forgotten. One of the two. So this create interface just says, hey, Node, I want to listen to the standard in and the standard out. And in this case, that just means the CLI. So it's going to say, I'm going to listen for input from the CLI, and I'm going to put my output back on the CLI. We could change things to listen for files or to output to files too. But for right now, we just want to work on the CLI. All right. So now we also have this really cool question piece. So we can do readline.question. This takes two parameters. It takes a function and a string. So we can be like, what's, oops. Why is this blue? What happened? What's up? Why is it throwing so many errors?
Quotation mark.
That's fine. I'm going to be real lazy and just do that. You should use an escape character, or you can just mismatch your brackets. I'm just going to be real lazy though. Okay, we were gonna name our input name, shockingly. I'm gonna use a lambda notation for this. We could do whatever though. All this is saying is, hey, here's a function with a parameter. This is the same exact thing of doing something like and that's fine too. I don't know why it's being, I have no, comma expected. Comma expected where? Oh, no, it was just taking a minute. So same thing. I'm going to show you guys the angle bracket notation, that arrow notation, otherwise known as lambda notation, just so you guys get more exposure to it. Because this is what you'll see a lot, especially on the node side. This is what you are going to see. Okay. All I want to do, we're just talking to the console because our input and output's the CLI. So we just want to be like, we're going to use this. This is again is that string literals, template strings. It's backticks, not single quotation, and it is just a more succinct way of us adding comments. Whoa, adding strings and JavaScript variables together. And this is just the notation for variables. We haven't talked too in depth in it, but I mean, that's kind of all it is. It's two backticks. We get to put strings and variables together. We use the $sign and the curly brace for variables. You could totally do name plus. There wasn't anything on the counter. She's defeated. So she's sulking around the house. You could totally do string hey plus name, and that would work too. This is just a nice slick notation for it. This just closes the connection so that way we don't get stuck in it. This idea of closing is really important, especially once we start talking about the server. You want to come up here, you brat? Come here. Come here, brat. Come on. You're a brat. Come here. Here's our esteemed brat. And say hi.
Oh,
Here's a brat. All right. So then what we get to do is we get to run it. I might need to do something else, but this should be fine. Our real question is not a function. Why not? Capital Q?
oh, did you close it out? What's your name? And then don't you need a parentheses? Or,
That's here. I don't think I'm missing that, but that's a good question. No? Kira was thinking this would be like a really easy demo and example.
it's just like get by element
Mm-hmm.
next.
This just means that the rest of this week, we're just gonna have like everything's gonna be like really wonderful and everything's just gonna work. We're just gonna get all the bad today. Oh, is this supposed to be a comma? No. Can you stop trying to move my mouse? I feel so dumb today. We're having a real winner of a day.
That's how I feel every day.
This shouldn't matter, but I'm going to test it. Hit. Am I doing something dumb? Hang on, let me do a sanity check. I might be calling it wrong. I don't think I am, but I also like. Okay, no, okay, I am calling it correctly. Because I was like, I had like this moment of like, oh, what if I need to do something else? Okay. Mm.
Did you see what Christina wrote?
Name is in quotation marks. Heh, it shouldn't matter because it's only one parameter. We'll try it. No, good guess. Yeah, so with arrow notation, if it's one parameter, we get to not put the parentheses on there. But if we have more than one, we do need them. But good catch, call, and taking a look.
Can't you just put it in CodePen and then?
I don't think Node runs in CodePen. I think we'll get that required, not allowed piece.
Okay.
But good question.
But they do have online where you can actually check your code.
Yeah, we can do a repel. And we can see if we can get a better error message. Question is spelled right, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that is definitely something I will do is misspell. Because I feel like the require statement's correct because the create interface didn't break. I'm going to try one more dumb thing. No, okay, great. We're having a day. That's okay though. We're learning. This is repel. It is read, evaluate, print, loop. But this is just an online thing that we get to do.
Yeah, those things help me a lot.
Oh, okay. How do I make it? Okay, go, run. Oop.
Ooh, all types of red.
Yeah. What do you mean?
It's not questions with an S.
I don't think so. That's a good question though. Should I use prompt? No, it's question. Question. I'm gonna try prompt. I don't think this will work. I think this is gonna throw a hissy fit. Okay. what is the dumb mistake that I'm making? Here I am thinking this is going to be a nice, easy demo of just, you know, we're not going to get too deep into the weeds about anything. And here we are. All right, I'm going to literally copy paste the example from the node documentation. So this is the example from the documentation. I got nothing. We're just not winning today, y'all. I don't know why we're not winning today, but we are not. I know that I've made this work before because I have a bunch of demos for it. All right. I hope you guys are enjoying my suffering. It happens to the best of us. The demo is different from yours. Constant. Yeah, but that shouldn't matter. Oh, do I have to make it a constant one? I don't think that'll matter. I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try it. It shouldn't. Oops. Exactly. All right, let's try setting it to a constant instead of just declaring it. That shouldn't matter, but we're going to try. This should be all right. Oh, maybe it does matter. Maybe it does matter.
Whoa, it does matter.
Okay, so I think what happened is I skipped a step. I went too fast and I didn't save this interface to anything. So now we can, you know. So you need to assign your interface to an object, or I'm sorry, a variable.
For later. She sent you a video for later.
Yep. Excellent. I was too into the servers. The servers, you can just kind of make things run. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Point being, read the documentation thoroughly and carefully. And, you know, gracefully accept that some days you're just not going to win. And that's okay. Because that was not a win.
So the part that we messed up at was with the rl.create interface. It wasn't set to a variable.
Yeah, and so it wasn't getting saved. And so when we asked a question, it didn't, it couldn't figure out, it didn't know where to ask a question because we didn't save it somewhere. So that's why it didn't work, is I didn't save this somewhere. So then when I asked it to ask a question, it was like, where?
Can you send this in Slack?
Yes. Let me do this. I'm gonna fix this one. And then let's test it here. I'm gonna make one slight adjustment to it. I am gonna do that rl.close. So that way we don't have to manually exit out of it. Okay, and I'll put this in Slack for y'all so you have it.
Okay.
And again, the tool is a REPL, and it's just, you just literally type like REPL and then the language that you want to use. So like I use it a lot for Java because I'm like, not setting up Java on my local machine to run. I'm just not. It's a lot of work. So yeah. All right. So besides my inability to read, any questions about what we did? So we required a module, just like we've done for Mocha. We set our interface to something we could interact with again, and then we use that interface to ask questions and to post it back out and to close it. Hopefully tomorrow will be less error prone. One can always hope for less error prone tomorrow. Let me pull up what I want y'all to do for homework. Yeah. All I want you to do for your homework is I want you to make a JavaScript file. You don't even need to set up a repo. You're going to just turn in a screenshot. I want you to make a file that prints something to the console. So like this is pretty close to what I want you guys to do. You don't even have to ask a question. You can just be like,
Console log.
Print. Yep. Yep. Send me a screenshot of the terminal. So like you guys will send me a screenshot of like a and then just take a screenshot of that little piece. Yeah. Just getting you to make sure Node's set up correctly, make sure you know how to use the CLI, make sure you know how to do all that. Nothing too terrible. Oh, today's Tuesday. Book time for your code review tomorrow.
Oh, I forgot.
Yep. Let me put that Calendly link in Slack.
Okay.
And again, book time with hardcore alternate because getting feedback from multiple people is very nice. Right. Great. Node. So wonderful. Normally it's a lot easier than this, but you know, one might assume I also know how to read. So maybe it's a bold assumption. All right. Close this. Cool. Maybe we should have read the demo. We can also look for file changes, which is really nice. We can do things like ask it to do something. I got more feedback from Chase. Good. Yep. Good. Chase is, you know, he's an art dude, so definitely like ask him for like visual feedback for stuff. He won't really be able to like help you with like a code, but definitely for like visual feedback for like, you know, does my website look nice? He can give you really nuanced stuff. He can be sometimes intense. Like I've asked him for feedback on stuff and he's like tore all my stuff apart and was just like, you know, never mean. He wasn't like, this sucks, but like he will be very thorough. So like if you're gonna ask Chase for artistic feedback, don't like
Take it personal.
Yeah, don't take it personal. Like it's a art critique. And so like he's gonna say things like, this is unsuccessful. This doesn't work. Like yeah. So
Funny. I like it.
Yeah. I love Chase. Like genuinely he is one of my favorite people. Like he's also really funny because he'll be like, and drew a better layout, perfect. Yep. Like he is so totally just like, yeah, man, this is how it is. And I'm like, yep, you're right. Excellent. Yep, computer layout, mobile layout, Udemous. All right. Today kind of wasn't fabulous. I'm not going to front. Mostly my fault for not being able to know how to read. Very tragic. I don't think I'm going to be able to teach you guys the events module in 10 minutes. Well, 13 minutes. Aw, thanks. So any questions about what we've covered, or do you want me to do a review about a particular JavaScript thing? and then we'll just start fresh tomorrow. Yes, show us what you 3D printed.
Oh, she wants to review arrays.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, girl. Oh.
I can't believe you 3D printed a meme.
Yeah, it says you should only use your printer for practical purposes.
All right, we're going to go to CodePen and we're going to look at arrays for the last couple of minutes just to wrap up. I'm just going to go over that demo again with all the stuff. And yeah, that's, we'll get through it. The reason I'm not stressed is because I have an entire makeup week. So as long as we don't get a week behind, I'm not stressing. That's why when I'm like, oh, we're, 2 days behind, I'm like,
That's smart.
Yeah, I try really hard to make sure that like this class is already really stressful. I don't, want stress. So
Girl, you silly.
that's funny. Well, I'm glad you do. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Cool. All right, so let's talk about arrays. Arrays are used to store multiple pieces of data in one variable. It's they're different than objects, but kind of, we get to save multiple pieces of information in one variable. Arrays use square brackets. We use square brackets to access them. We do not use this new array notation. We only use this new thing for objects. So when you see this kind of stuff, just understand that that's coming from people. How is Node not installed? No, I don't know. That's weird. Go ahead and install it and get it going and let me know if it is continuing to be ornery. It should work. So you guys did turn in homework with it. But let me know if it's still being ornery. So we have a couple different methods. So arrays are objects. They have properties and methods. We can push stuff to the end. We can unshift, which adds stuff to the beginning. We use splice to add or remove stuff from the beginning. Remember that splice has 3 parameters: the start index, how many items you would like to delete, and items being inserted. If you want to add stuff and not delete it, you say your delete count 0. This is a really nice, neat little method for, you can remove items without adding stuff. Yep. You just wouldn't put anything in the end. Yep. So this is how we get stuff. We add and remove stuff from the middle depending on how many parameters you put in. You put in 3 and you give it values for all of them, you're going to add and delete stuff. If you just put in the first 2, you're just going to delete stuff. If you put in 0, you'll add stuff. This is one of those that I would write down and write all this stuff out. Which one's the index? What does the index mean? What does the delete count mean? What does the last part mean? Like writing down all these pieces so you know. So we can see our dogs. Here we go. We can also, I'm going to go, I don't care about removing stuff. We can remove stuff. What I do care about is, I want to loop through the array. Do I not have any loops in here? Okay, we're going to loop through this dogs array. Here. So we're going to do a for loop, and we're going to say for var I is equal to 0 because index start at
0.
0. Yes, arrays do have a for each method. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. Which is very nice. We can just do this just so we can see. Oops. Oops, 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 oops. I got ahead of myself.
No, you got me all confused. Okay. Dogs.
So what this is going to do is going to loop through the array and print out all of them as their own individual string. So this top one here prints out the array. This for loop goes through and gets the content. So that's what's up. This is how we get through each of them. This is called array notation because it looks like an array. We got square brackets. We can remove stuff with pop, shift, and splice. This is basically just what for each does. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we can do I never remember the syntax for each. I always want to write it as a for in loop, and that's not right. Oh, also one more time, y'all, if you're doing stuff and looking at things, definitely don't get too deep into the weeds with PHP. Sorry, that took a long time for me to process that. As typing. This is just a little smush format for writing all this stuff. I love it. And now we can loop through and get all the fish too. So there we go. There's all the fish. Same thing as writing out a for loop. It's just a bit more of a neat one-liner. It's a little bit more succinct. So it's a for each and versus just a for loop. Pop, we can remove stuff. We can move stuff. We can take strings and push them into arrays using split. And then we can take arrays and put them back to a string. And then remember that toString and join are the same method, but join allows us to define what breaks apart the string. So default to comma, which might not work. Like my name shouldn't be comma separated, it should be space separated. So we use we use join, not toString. So that's why we have the two different ones. We could also take slices, which give us subarrays and that kind of stuff. Remember that slices make a copy and a splice doesn't. So we got split, splice, and slice, which is very terrible. Slice copies the array and gives us a new array. So it's like taking a photocopy of something and then cutting up the copy. Versus splice is like cutting up film or a book and rearranging it that way. Cool. We also have find. Cool. Any other array questions before we get too deep into the weeds of higher level functions? Cool. I wouldn't stress about the higher level functions like find, map, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't stress about it. They are what really make. Yeah, you're good. We got 3 minutes. Bye. I actually got to go rescue someone text too. So, bye. The higher level arrays are what makes JavaScript really, really powerful, but like it's complicated and we don't need them yet. So besides like the map and those kind of questions, any other array questions? Groovy. All right. Everybody know what you guys are doing for homework?
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions that I can cover in 2 minutes? I don't know. I don't like that the office is always so cold. Chase tries to not keep it so cold, but the building makes it very cold. Tonight is the goal. I try to do them every night. It should probably be up by like 7 or 8. It takes about an hour for it to like process, and then it takes like time. So I have to download it, process it, and upload it. So it takes some time. But tonight. Cool. All right. Anything else?
Nope, nope, nope.
Okay. You go back and look at what I'm missing. It should be there. Yes, I will go back and look at your stuff. I will do grading tonight. Take a look and give you guys feedback.
I guess I feedback. Huh? I said I guess I should look at the feedback.
Yep. Yes, I will. I'll let you know. All right. That's all I got.
Okay, you're making me tired.
I am tired. Cool. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh, look at those tumors. Excellent.
Oh.
You're a real 3D printer now.
I get mine on Friday, and I got different colors.
Colors. Very exciting. I remember I got told that I couldn't print the Valor masks in different colors, and I was like, listen, police officers can have rainbow masks or no masks. Like, they don't get to be picky. Like, they're getting donated. The people at Gold Cross, the people like, it's a donation. It's free. You don't get to complain. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yay, tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
Bye.